let's get the best bets for game 3 of the Western Conference Finals between the Thunder and the Wolves. We'll go around, give the bets, and then we'll do the caps on them. Brandon Anderson, what do you like in game 3?
Well, after all that talk, smashing the Wolves' chances, Brandon and I are both back in the Wolves right out of the gates tonight. Wolves first half, taking the money line, plus 105. J-Dub, over 10.5 rebounds plus assists. Matt, I know you're on his rebound assist line. Also, that Ant first quarter rebounds line you mentioned, 3+ rebounds, is plus money at plus 130. And lastly, Dante DiVincenzo under 16.5 PRA. And then we'll get into some of those series leader bets I love too.
All right, Brandon Kravitz, what about you?
I am going to get in and get out. I like the Timberwolves for some reason. First quarter at plus 0.5, and I want that. I don't want the money line. I specifically want that 0.5 plus 0.5 spread. We'll break that down in a moment. And Naz Reid, I'm going back to that, but I'm going to add points to it for our official play here, under 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
For me, Jalen Williams over 4.5 assists, the official buckets play of the 2025 postseason. J-Dub over 11.5 rebounds and assists, minus 105 at DK. I'm willing to add the extra on there beyond Brandon. We'll talk. I want Brandon's advice on the 11.5 versus the 10.5. Hartenstein under 15.5 points and rebounds, and then I will probably find something else on Wolves in this conversation, but I got to hear what the guys think about it first. Let's start with the side. And I noticed neither of you are going full game on this. So Kravitz, talk to me about Wolves first quarter and tell me why you want the plus 0.5 for the tie.
Yeah, I've been brutalized in this series. I've made 5 plays on this series so far in 2 games. I've won 1 of them. So please take this with a grain of salt. 2 of those 5, by the way, were the Wolves plus 7.5 in both games. So stubborn I am, if nothing else, but I like the Wolves in the first quarter. Get in, get out. I don't know what to make of home court these days in the playoffs, but to me, it does feel like it's most impactful in the first occurrence of each series, and this being that first game in Minnesota. I think that carries extra weight. That's just a personal opinion of mine, and then I dug in to see if some numbers could back that up. There's also the loss angle. Strong first quarter spot, first game at home, and now off a loss. Minnesota is 2-1 in the first quarter off a loss this postseason. Minimal sample size there. The lower seeded team in the first home game of a series, that being game 3, first quarter has either won or tied on 7 of those 12 occasions off of a loss. It's actually 6-3 to the lower seeded team at home. In this series alone, first quarters have not been the issue. They have won the first. They won game 1 by 3, and then they lost game 2 by 1, so it's a point differential of -1 in the favor of the Oklahoma City Thunder. You flip this series back to Minnesota off a loss, a lot of desperation in front of your home fans. They should get off to a hot start here, so I think we're getting a good buying opportunity at -115 or better. But the reason the plus 0.5 is so important is that without adding draws into the mix for first quarter plays, in this particular scenario, we're actually at a losing proposition. So that tie could come into play for you here. So make sure that you're on the right side of that.
Okay. All right. I'm excited for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to draw a foul by falling down with 0.1 seconds left in the quarter for him to hit 1 of 2 from the strike and go Thunder -1 here. All right. So that's that. I'll give the trends real quick, Brandon. Conference finals, game 3, down 0-2. I wanted to look at if you're home and if you're a dog or a favorite. I wanted to see if there's a differential there. Favorites are 9-4 straight up, 9-4 ATS, but the Wolves are dogs. Dogs, there's only been 5 instances of this, so we're talking about a tiny sample. But they are 3-2 straight up and 4-1 ATS. So even dogs in this spot have typically responded in this kind of a situation. There is, however, an argument that this is unprecedented given how good the Thunder are, because I don't know if you know this, Brandon Anderson, but the Thunder have the best point differential in NBA.
Oh, they do.
So, all right, Brandon, you want the first half play. Give me your angle on that.
Yeah, it honestly is just mostly a trends play, and it's two, but a sub trend of the second that was enough to be like, all right, let me just go ahead and play it. So I do not like separating down to just the conference finals. I understand why. I understand we're getting a lot of not as relevant data in the first round because of some of the matchups, but it's already such small sample anyways. I'd rather just have the full data. So here's the full data. Game 3, 0-2 coming home just in the first half. 92, 51, and 2 ATS, 64%. So covering about 2 out of 3 times. And here's one, doesn't matter if you're down 0-2 or not. Just game 3 coming home off at least a 6-point loss now first half. That one has an even bigger sample. We're up to 180 games now, and that one is 63% ATS. So again, still almost 2 out of 3. I was still like, man, I don't know. Are the Wolves going to really punch back here in the first half? Do I really need this? And then I'm going to break my own rule here because I had a note on that second trend, the coming off a big loss, that it's especially good if the opponent is a 1 seed. So I looked it up. We have 69 games in a sample over the last couple decades. So you're home for game 3. You just got smashed by the 1 seed. Perception of you cannot be lower. Sound familiar? That's exactly the spot we're in right now. It's the 1 seed. They're so good. They're running you off the court. It's probably a sweep. In that spot, 50 and 19 ATS, 73%, almost 3 out of 4 times covering. So the line is Wolves plus 1.5, Wolves plus 1, depending on the book. I'm going to play the money line because, unlike Brandon, I'm greedy and I only lose 1 point here. And if we tie, we push on the money line. I don't mind pushing. I lose if the Wolves cover. If it's Wolves plus 1, I lose the bet rather than the plus 1.5. I'll take the risk. It's 25 cents difference, minus 120 on the spread versus plus 105 on the money line. So you can make that choice, listeners. But Wolves first half, again, similar to Kravitz. I'm in, I'm out. I don't need to see if they're going to actually win games this series. It's not a faith in the team pick. This is a faith in the dog in them responding a little bit and public perception just being a little bit too strong that the 1 seeds are going to win forever and the sky is falling and it's all terrible. And that's what the trends back us to do.
I admire you for that kind of perspective. I'm serious. Because I think that's like the hard part, right? Is like when we're so reactive as human beings to what we just saw. And like everybody today, like it's in the comment section here at youtube.com/theactionnetwork, which is like Ninja 13's like the series is over, Thunder in 5. And like you could be right, but also, how many times have I said on the show, if you're gonna buy low, you're never gonna feel great about it. It's
Right.
never gonna be like, can't wait to do this. It's this kind of a spot. I do want to run this back just because, okay, I understand why you want the larger sample. I think the first round is such a different one because we have so many of the 4 5s and 3 6s. Right. And those are like really wonky sometimes. Like the separation between 3 and 6 sometimes is very small. And historically we see 1s and 2s being much higher. So what I did was I looked at, all right, let's take everything except the first round. And this is what it looks like on the full game. Not first half, because the first half could be great. First half or full game. After the first round, if you're a home dog down 0-2, those fall. Remember how I said that was actually pretty good in the conference finals? Yeah, it falls to 10 and 12, 46% straight up, and 11 and 11 ATS. So like all these numbers pull back a little bit once we add in a broader sample and let the
and I will push back to that I think that what the reason they're falling is the full game, not the first half, because this was the tried and true thing for a while that books caught on to and have priced in now is the desperation spot. And they're pricing in now in the first half desperation thing now as well, a little bit like they have all the trends just like we do.
Yeah.
We understand, but the full game numbers are not there for these trends anymore. You don't need to exclude the first round. It's just not a good trend for that. I will say, as far as including or excluding data, this is a 1 versus 6. Like we get a 2 versus 7 and all the first round data every year. I realize Minnesota's not your typical 60. Like all the trends and all the things, you have to decide what's in or what's out. Excluding the first round, of the playoffs, that's half the data. That's more than half. There are 8 first-round series and 7 after that. So
I get it.
I'd
I
rather
understand
have
what
a
you're saying.
sample.
I get what you're saying. It's just I do think it can be a point of disagreement where it's like you feel more comfortable with the full sample, and like for me, I find I find very little relationship between how the first round is played and how the subsequent rounds are played. They just feel very different to me historically. They just feel like entirely different series in terms of the execution level. If you're just throwing this, screw it, I'm making it a best bet. Wolves first half, Thunder full game is plus 480 at FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't said this, but backing all the things of what each of us are saying here, the Wolves have hung till halftime, both games. They have not led. We need them to do better than hang. We need them to actually lead after the first quarter and at halftime in order for these to hit. But you get the home road change. You get the coming out with a little extra something. The third quarter, Brandon, you had the stat earlier. Third quarter is when it's all gone sideways. And then the fourth quarter has been garbage time. The first half, the Wolves have hung around. So, yeah, if you think that's all they've got is the first half, I knew we'd get you, Matt. I knew we'd get you into one of these Wolves bets here. I was going to say first quarter, halftime, we need a full-time winner. Good for you for giving it halfway and still Thunder bet as well. I wish we could do the escalator for your bet is Wolves first half, Thunder sweep. I wish we could do that bet, but I don't think that's available.
I don't think it's available.